What is up? And welcome back to another episode of Dark Side Secrets. Today we have on Grayson from Mortis FM. How you doing, Grayson?
I'm doing fantastic, my friend. Thank you guys for having me back on.
Of course. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Mortis FM, link is in the chat, down in the description. They tell us a little bit about your channel for the people watching who don't know Mortis FM.
I think you got. I don't know. I feel like the people. I got okay. All right.
Tell 'em.
Yeah. Honestly, man, we just like talking about Star Wars. You know how we be. We just dropped within the past month or so, both of our tier lists, which I'm sure people are highly intrigued in. So you can either go agree with us or completely roast our takes. But yeah, we're just a Star Wars podcast. We try to keep it about once a week, depending on our schedule, just because we're both busy bees, Cole's in school and things like that. But on top of our regular episodes, we also have with you two and Beyond the Dune Sea, Tales from the Archives, which we should be doing our next one in about a month from now, I believe on February 9th, somewhere around there. And we're going to be finishing up Darth Plagueis, which I've been reading on here, ye old Kindle, and it's very good. So catch up.
Awesome. So let's take a look and see what we picked up last week. Will, what'd you get last week, bro? Anything? You look nervous. You're muted. You got a nice hat. You're talking. We can't hear you because you're on mute.
I was muted because I sneezed while we were backstage. I got this hoodie. It's a zip-up hoodie.
Oh, that's dope.
Empire Strikes Back. I got it from Jeff Bezos himself. He shipped it to me direct to my house, dude.
Amazon.
Yeah. No, it was Jeff. And then over there, because I'm not going to get up out of this chair, I got the Balin Black Series right there.
Where'd you find it?
I got it shipped to me because I pre-order my stuff and I don't wait for it in Ross, sir.
Okay. I hope I find it next week in Ross for $5.99. And
you're probably gonna.
Way. This clip will be golden.
Yep, that's fine.
I mean, let me know when Starkiller shows up at Ross.
They canceled my pre-order. I was so pissed. I got it from GameStop because you know how they do, like, if you have the GameStop membership, they give you the points every month to get I used my points and they were like, no, sorry, it's canceled. So,
bro,
I was hoping I got the Shin Funko that was supposed to be delivered today, but it's not delivered yet. So Jeff has not come by my house yet.
Damn. Yo, shout out to Ricky, 7-month member chat. Appreciate you, Ricky. Let's go.
7 months.
Yes. So what about you, Grayson? Anything cool in the last week or two?
Okay, I misunderstood what you meant by pickups. I didn't know what that meant. So I bought something today, actually, but it's in my car. You can say what?
Go get it. We'll wait.
Go get it.
Go get it. I'll go get it. I don't
care. You gotta run.
I've got one other thing to show, but I'll get it first.
Okay.
Be right back.
So while he's gone, I'll
I think he was actually gonna go.
While he's gone, while we see he gets back, let's go into the chat for a little bit till he gets back.
Yeah.
So we got Dan in the building with no shirt on in his picture. What up, Dan? You look strong.
Dan's jacked, dude.
Yeah. You know him, or is that some random dude in our chat?
No. Dan's dope. He's been following me for a long time, and I've been following him. He's that's the gym inspo right there. Dan.
Let's go. Pop goes the Weasel. What's up, bro? Hey guys, I'm thinking that since Mando is going to the big screen, they will add some big name characters, wise to get butts and seats. Luke is probably dead certain, maybe Leia too. I could see some juicy stuff like that kind of having to happen.
I think we'll talk about it later.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be juicy. It's actually nice to have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's fun when there's news, right?
Yeah, and it's like good news and not necessarily the negative news that we're gonna hit a little bit of.
Yeah,
because I know you guys got some rants locked and loaded. I think we'll see Grogu tap into the dark side to save Mando at the end. I would love that. Let him turn dark. I hate everyone's so soft. Let's be a good guy. Let's go to the light. No, come on.
It would be cool if he just talked, you know?
Yeah.
Can we get there? I'm back. What's up? Yeah, I want him to at least be a little bit older. Like, come on, right?
Yeah,
not gonna happen, dude. He's gonna be a baby for the next 30 years.
Which is true, but
It's like how Yoda is always old. It's going to be Grogu is always a baby. And I think that's just kind of how it's going to be.
Can we at least just get him to like toddler level,
But if that movie is going to take place in between Mando 3 and Mando season 4, which apparently is still happening.
I don't think that we'll get into that. That shit ain't happening, bro.
Yeah.
Apparently it is. So if it is and it takes place in between and there's no like unless we don't see a flash forward of Grogu, that baby is going to be a baby till I get on set and punt him into space.
Yeah.
So
I think what was it? Remember like when season 3 and Book of Boba Fett happened, they were like, oh, the certain amount of time has passed between these seasons or whatever like that. So
it was been separate. 2 or 3 years he was
said,
with Luke.
He said 2 years, but then I think John kind of backtracked because I think he meant it was literally 2 years since we saw it. And then people took it out of context. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, the way he explained it in that interview, it was one of the I think it was a red carpet thing for Mando season 3 or something like that.
Yeah,
and he's sitting there with Dave, and he's like, "Well, if you don't count weekends, and then in space, I mean, you got to count time travel. So that's like space travel doesn't really count at light speed. So he's just a bunch of technicalities as to why it was 2 years. And if you brush your teeth, that doesn't count for 5 minutes. So it's like he was just being annoying.
Yeah, Lainey is spitting. She said he'll be a baby for as long as Disney wants to sell Baby Yoda bibs, which is
keep beating that dead horse till it stops spitting out money.
That's funny. What's up, Lainey? So what'd you get, Grayson? We're here waiting, bro. You didn't show us nothing yet.
I didn't want to interrupt. I'm not rude. Okay. I've got 4 things. One I did get from my car. I forgot I actually got more. All right. This is Will knows about this one, but I got this.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I got this for my girlfriend and I. They're matching shirts because girls like that, guys. And it's like basically like on the old like 90s promotional posters of like getting kids to read. So there was like on their website, I think they stopped selling these, and it's from a website called Out of Print, and they're gonna stop selling all their Star Wars stuff like in a couple months. They had a Vader one, they had a Boba one. They had a Grogu one, of course. And then a few other things. I sent Will something. But yeah, that's the first thing. I'm just going to throw my stuff on my bed. This is what I got today. I got it for technically $3, but I got...
Proxy!
Proxy.
Nice.
Glow in the dark, too. I had been seeing this for like years, and I was like, I checked one day and it was gone. But then today it was like right front and center. And it was like marked down, and I had the $5 for GameStop. You get like $5 every month.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, easy. I'm not throwing that on the bed. All right, next thing I got this bad boy.
The bust.
The gentle giant got 2 swappable heads, one with the short hair and one with the mask.
So good.
Which one are you gonna leave on for when you first display it? The mask or the short hair?
Probably the mask, but I might change it around every now and again.
Nice.
Trying to get Connor. I have right above my head, near the Heir to the Empire trilogy, I have the Canon Black series, and you know how Connor is super into like the custom head sculpts.
Oh, he is, yeah.
I want him to get me one of where he has the Temple Guard mask from season 2, and he's doing like the reverse grip, because that's just such a cold Canon moment.
Yeah.
And then I did not buy this. My friend gave me this. Shout out to Comic Blast Keenan on YouTube. He does Spider-Man stuff. He just hit 10K subs.
Damn, hot toy? What a friend!
Yeah.
Can I? Hey, can I be his friend?
Does he need more friends?
Will, you're gonna love this. A couple years ago, he also gave me the Ben Affleck Batman hot toy for free.
Oh,
yeah. So
dude,
all of my hot toys.
The gray suit one, or is it the one with the battle armor?
It is the gray suit. So it's not BVS. It's technically Justice League, but it's close enough.
It looks cool though. It's the one with the goggle attachment, right, for the cowl?
This one,
where he's got the eyeglasses?
No, it's like his like kind of BVS armor, but he has the gun. Maybe he does. He does have a goggle head on that, but it's got a couple of different. I don't think it has any different heads. I think it just has different mouths. But he has the base is the parademon, like a parademon like body.
Oh yeah.
It's so sick. So I had him for a while where he had the grapnel gun and the batarang in another hand. It was sick.
That's sick.
Anyway, that's my stuff.
Nice. So I got a few things. I got this Revenge of the Sith Yoda.
I'm so jealous.
I had to look at him. Look at the hair, bro. Yoda's hair game in the prequels Look at that. Beautiful. But I had to get
He's
this
got that
thing.
comb.
It's pretty. It's a good size. I think it's like actual how big Yoda was. Now he was a little bigger maybe, but I grabbed this, and then that was in Retro Rat, and then I found a bunch of video games for throwback consoles. So I had to grab this for Nintendo 64, Rogue Squadron, classic, $12.
Nice.
Like, come on, you're coming home with me, Toots, is what I said to it in the store. So there's that, and then I didn't know this game existed, and everyone else I showed it to, they're like, I didn't know that was a thing. Star Wars: The New Droid Army for Game Boy Advance. So you got Hayden on there. It was $7, and when you load up the game, it plays Across the Stars as the intro music. So it is such a vibe,
Wow.
Dude, I just got done watching a video. I believe the YouTuber is Flandrew, and he does a lot of Star Wars game coverage, and he's been doing videos on all of the different prequel tie-in games, because Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith had like 8 separate games that were all movie tie-ins. Like, it was insane.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
What a crazy time.
And speaking of YouTubers, if you guys know this YouTuber called me, I actually took my podcast and made it a separate channel. So Sith Talk Podcast is live, new episodes every Friday. I'll drop the link in the chat, so if you guys could show some love and support. But yeah, there's that plug-in. So let's catch up with a little bit more chat before we get into the juicy stuff, because there is a lot of juicy stuff. Shout out to Dana with the 8-month member chat. Hey, what's up, Dana? Welcome to the stream. Where did we leave off? There's that guy, that really annoying guy. Where's he at? There he is. Ricky in the building. What up, Ricky? What's up? Andrew, howdy. What's up, Andrew? Welcome to the stream.
Ooh, Andrew, new profile pic.
Yes. The trees, what up? Let's go. Welcome to the stream. Congrats. Almost 90 subs to Mortis. Yeah, guys. So I dropped the link in the chat. It's in the description. Mortis needs to be at 90 by the end of the stream, or it's not ending. So we got one more, so he's up to 89. So we need one more sub. Let's get him to 100, guys. Let's just get him 11 quick subs, something light. You'll enjoy the content. I guarantee it.
I've been slacking on my reels. I know that'll help, but yes.
All right, let's see. Eric in the building. What's up, Eric? Oh, he's coming in hot. He says, I say scrap the Ray movie project. Already with bad vibes with that director. If you want to make men uncomfortable, then fellas, why not sit this one out and let it fail? That'll show them. I see Eric with a pitchfork, like steaming the castle.
We're 13 minutes in, guys. We can't do this till the 15-minute mark at least.
Nick, what up? You're still at work, but pop it in for a second. What's up? Jake in the building. How's everyone doing? Hashtag Gaints.
Hashtag Gaints, baby. Let's go.
What's up, McClunky? Welcome to the stream. I agree. Pop a big name character has to be in the Mando movie for sure. Someone has to die. Yeah, we'll see. Do we think the armorer could die in the Mando movie? Oh man, I want her unmasked in there, and I want her to be like, "I'm loyal to Maul." We know she is. Alejandro, what's up? What is up? Galactic, what's up? San Antonio in the chat, what's happening? Alex in the building, what is up? Let's see. We got Lainey there. Lainey said, see you at Ross. Talking about your the Balin figure. Let's see. Person 17, what's up?
That's the 17th person ever, Grayson, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's the 17th ever.
Sam's World, what's up? I want a real villain. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna talk about some like rumored villains for the Rey movie, because the one that I just heard about yesterday, I was like, yo, I got excited. I'm like, what? It's something I've never thought of or heard anybody say, and I'm like, I kind of want that.
It's Darth Talon.
Please God, no.
Red Star Gaming, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Let's see. Oh, the legend, Mr. 100K made time for us. Let's go. What up, Retney? Will, have you received your payment from Bob Iger yet? I didn't get mine.
No, I'm waiting for you to split ears with me, bud. You have my Venmo, you have my Cash App. So when you get that Bobby check from Mickey Mouse himself, I need you to split that and send some to me. Donate to the younger people, Mr. 100K.
What up, Cole? Good to see you back. Always rocking dope gear. Grayson, so happy you've gotten rid of the Halo poster. Tony, you're the man. Long live Shin Hati.
What's wrong with Halo, man?
Halo's cool.
Yeah.
What
I
up,
just had to
Rob?
switch it up.
Rob the Builder in the building. Diamondfigs,
What's up, Rob?
I'm your biggest fan.
He's
Running man.
Yeah, this guy's all over the place. He's probably running right now. I don't know how he typed that without
Yo,
typos. That's
dude
pretty
is-
impressive.
Bro, how is he at a marathon every day and they do him like 3 times a year? This dude, I always look. I'm like, did he?
He's
break
flying
his
around.
running?
He's
Oh.
he's always running. This guy travels.
Oh.
But for Disney, the runs are like they do one every day for like a week straight or something like that. He was
Yeah.
explaining it to me. And you
Oh.
run every day for a certain amount of it.
And all that merch is
Oh.
going to Cast Connections.
Yep. Get it for 90% off. All of those Loungefly backpacks and all of that will just be in that warehouse.
And then what up, John Mitchell? He says, need a trailer for the next Star Wars show soon. Yup, you're right for sure. All right, so Will, I'm gonna let you. What do you want to start talking? There's a lot to talk about. Do you wanna break out your rant and tell us?
No, let's do the fun stuff first.
I think the
we
fun
can do
stuff
that later.
Will take longer, to be honest, because it's like a lot of
That's
fun
fun.
stuff.
I don't have
Going
a lot
on.
to say with that stuff, but we got fun stuff to talk about first. Also, Mortis FM is at 95 subs right now. They only
my
need
gosh.
5 more subs.
Guys, let's go. 4 more
Yo,
subs.
96.
4 more subs.
4 more subs,
Oh my
guys.
gosh.
Let's
You
get them
guys-
to a hundo, 100.
I don't
If-
think. Wow. Okay.
If
Like, come
they
on.
don't get 100 subs right now on this stream, Grayson will shave his head. If 100 subs right now, he'll shave his head.
I've done that before. I don't want to do it again. My
Yes.
girlfriend will kill me. Please
He's
get us
going
to
to
100.
shave his head and get Mortis FM's logo tattooed on the top of his bald head, guys, if he gets 100 subs. 4
like
subs
Colin
and-
Farrell in Daredevil.
Yeah,
Just-
exactly.
Bullseye.
I'm a sharpshooter.
You guys got an hour and 12 minutes. I
Yep.
believe in you. Thank you all who did the more the
yeah.
recent people.
I forgot we're on a time crunch. All right, so the first thing we'll talk about is this piece of juice that dropped yesterday. Mandalorian Grogu going to the big screen. That in itself is a big thing, a big deal because it was rumored. But to me, for them to casually just have this little sentence in here. Oh, also Dave Filoni, who's currently developing Ahsoka season 2. That's crazy. So what was your guys' reactions? Because I'm pretty sure I don't know if you guys were sold when this info dropped right away yesterday. What were you guys thinking?
I was sold. I'm excited for it. I think because we're all in that group chat together, I think when the news broke, the biggest thing for me was it's a little bit.
101,
Let's
baby.
go!
Let's go. All right, guys.
Wow.
Next
Thank you,
200.
guys.
200. I need 99 of you guys. We're gonna hit 200 this stream.
That's crazy.
Mortis FM. It's actually quality content. If it wasn't, this wouldn't be up and he wouldn't be on the show. I'm not even lying. Like, come on. We're keeping
I
it
think
real.
the tree
Yeah, he's not.
with sub right here because he said Mortis was at 99, just subbed. Hope I got that number 100, baby.
Wow.
Yeah, he did, and somebody else subbed. So sorry to cut
Thank
you
you
off,
guys.
but
Thank
yeah,
you.
Let's go.
keep spitting.
And that shave the head thing tattoo goes. He better be at 200 subs by the end of this stream, or else he's going to shave his head and get that tattoo. No, we're all in that group chat, and I think the biggest thing was I'm very excited to see Star Wars return to the theaters. However, I think the biggest thing with all of this, and not to undermine the news and how exciting it is that we're going to see Mando on the big screen, it just kind of feels like damage control, which is, if you saw the thumbnail, after all of the only Star Wars discourse over the past, 2.5 weeks has been about Charmine and those comments from 8 years ago about a documentary that she did a long time ago that was about, if I don't know too much about the documentary, it was something about like them, like women throwing acid and or men throwing acid in women's faces, and that was the documentary as like a women's empowerment thing. I'm not too well versed on that. I'm more of a Star Wars nerd myself. But the comments weren't up to date, And there were a lot of people on Twitter who I saw, and we all know this now, who took that interview and said, this is the director of the next Star Wars movie. She just said this in an interview. She didn't just say it. So that's the part that bothers me. However, before we talk about that stuff, the damage control side of thing, it just kind of feels like that news, especially the Ahsoka thing and what that we saw today with the Dave Doodle and all that stuff. Hashtag Dave Doodle is going to be the new hashtag that goes around anytime you post concept art. But it just kind of seems like damage control to change the narrative from what it has been and what it primarily only was for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. My thoughts on it are like, at first when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is the Heir to the Empire movie. Okay, so gotcha. Dave and John are teaming up. This is the movie. And then you guys were like, no, this is a separate thing. This is its own movie. And now we're hearing that season 4 is also happening, and
and this potentially might be part of a trilogy with Dave's film.
Yeah, which is interesting, an interesting idea. But the idea, literally the title is called The Mandalorian and Grogu. Off the rip,
title.
Yeah, just not good.
I don't think that's like the official title. I think it just says they're going to the big screen. I don't think it's going to be called that.
I don't know. They keep putting it in quotes, like The Mandalorian and Grogu, like in quotes, like that's the title, not referring to both of those characters. Because when they say Ahsoka season 2, they don't put Ahsoka in quotes. You know what I mean? That she's a character. It's just weird.
It's all semantics, honestly. I could see them going either way, but it seems like with the italicization of it. Sorry, I probably butchered. Yeah, that's right there. It says it's not italicized anymore. But then later down the article, there it is.
At the top it says on the first sentence, it's Dave Filoni, The Mandalorian and Grogu will go into production in 2024.
In italics, makes it seem like that is the title.
Yeah, if that's the title, that is stupid. But
but it gets butts and seats. That's the thing.
No, it will. So for me, it's damage control only if they're forcing him to do a movie out of nowhere and it has to do with nothing else. Which I don't think that's the case. If that's the case, 100% damage control, and that's dumb. But in my brain, in my head canon, I see this as we knew that he had season 4 pretty much already written. So it's like, okay, John, take what you had, make it a nice tight movie. So in my mind, this is Mando season 4. I don't care what comicbook.com said that they're still doing season 4. Shut up. No, that doesn't make sense. But we did see another thing today, allegedly that it's part of a trilogy in quotes, because I like to do quotes as well. But that would make the most sense because Thrawn is such a badass. You're not going to kill him in one season of a show or one movie. And if you do, it's going to be rushed. So if they are doing this movie, setting it up, this is season 4, which potentially I kind of thought we would have had Thrawn stuff in Mando season 4. And then this will lead to Dave's movie. And then it'll lead to a final movie where Thrawn goes down. I love that. That gives me something to look forward to over the next however long they do it. So I'm happy for this, but as long as this is Mando season 4, if it's damage control and it's a random story and it's just Mando and Grogu doing cutesy stuff in a forest, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, for me, it feels like I think when Will was you guys were referring it to as damage control, I think more so not the actual project itself, but the announcement of it was very.
That 100%, because I don't care about old lady no more. I'm hyped for this,
and Ahsoka
today too with Dave's doodle.
It's basically quit looking at this, look over here.
It's 100% that. 100% that.
But this has probably been in the movie has been in the pipeline for a while. Honestly, the best likening that I can think of it is, I think of a lot of old Western movies, which, Mandalorian is often inspired, serials and movies, a lot of, John Wayne and Clint Eastwood stuff of some of those shows would end up getting turned into movies. And sometimes they'd be TV movies or whatever. My idea is if it's part of this trilogy and say it's the first part, say at the end of the movie sets up, Mando going to Dathomir, right? He catches, maybe that's kind of a thing sprinkled throughout that finally leads him to Dathomir, and then he's the one to confirm, hey, Thrawn is back, and that leads into kind of the big middle part, where it's all right.
Yeah.
And then we get I don't know. I think I could see it working as a trilogy as long as, I just really don't want these movies to feel like Avengers. Like that's the kind of running meme is that like, oh, it's gonna be like, you know, and I know like it's still going to be called that, but like I really don't want it to be like, oh, here's just Star Wars Avengers, you know, here's Luke, here's Ezra, here's Mando, here's Han, here's Lando, here's like Leia, here's Chewbacca, Boba Fett, whatever, you know, like that. It just, I want these characters' stories to kind of intertwine, but I don't want it to be like the circle shot of the Avengers, you know, and so
Wong, you wanted more.
yeah, like it starts like, I mean. Oh, they kind of did that in Rise of Skywalker with all the ships, but you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whoa, Wedge is here. It's like Lando. It's all of those again. It's like how many ships can you pull out? Watto's here.
You know who else? You know who else is here?
Quinlan was here.
Quinlan Voss in the chat. What up, Quinlan?
You've been prepping that one, huh?
Oh yeah, he has his own intro. Yeah.
Wow.
So
I will say the MCUification of Star Wars, if you want to call it, which a lot of people have been saying for a while, that's the only thing that I would be not excited about for this film is, like you said, Grayson, if we had to watch Mando season 3, this movie picks up after Mando season 3. We have to watch Mando season 4, and then we have to watch Dave's film, and then Ahsoka season 2, Skeleton Crew, and then there's a third film, which is going to be so. And that's the thing for me too. If it's going to be a trilogy, let it be a trilogy. MCU and Marvel already kind of messed up their formula with the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah, they did.
So if Disney is going to do the exact same thing, and I know we were talking about it in the group chat yesterday. I think it was Connor and I were saying this is a great way for them to put probably their biggest IP that they have on Disney Plus outside of the MCU stuff is the success they've had with Mando. Obviously, season 1 and season 2 kind of launched all the Disney Plus stuff. Yeah. So for Mando to now be on the big screen for Star Wars' return to the theaters since Rise of Skywalker was 2019. So
now when Mando started.
Exactly. So it's been that long since Star Wars is in theaters. Now that it's back, it makes sense they would use this IP to put people in theaters before the Rey movie, first off, and as well to then continue that story on Disney Plus so they get butts and seats from the theater tickets, as well as then they get Disney Plus subscriptions afterwards for people to go watch Mando season 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that was what Connor was saying is that Disney Plus is kind of hemorrhaging right now. Like it, you know, and last year Disney and all of their projects did not profit or like barely did, you know,
to the point they completely deleted some of them, like Willow. You just can't.
Poor Warwick. Willow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. What up, First Sister in the chat? Hello, listening while reorganizing the Girl Cave. Let's go. Welcome.
What's the name?
Top Shelf Nerds in the building. What's up? Welcome to the stream, my guy.
What's up, homie?
All right, so we got that nugget, right? And then today, Dave's Doodle, bro. The minute I saw this, and shout out to Will, noticed a little detail. You want to tell us the little detail about this picture?
Your boy's signature on the bottom, Dave Filoni. That's Dave 23. So this was done some point last year. I mean, we are only 10 days into 2024. So this could have been 11 days ago. He drew this. However, it kind of seems like this has been the plan all along, especially since before Ahsoka season 1. And I know, to keep talking about the group chat earlier, we've been going off as nerds do, very excited about all this nerds before getting on tonight. When this was posted and it was sent in the group chat, Grayson brought up, which I was actually talking to somebody about yesterday, was that photo of Ahsoka and Sabine from the concept art Dave did of them climbing up snow-capped mountains, which when this scene was shown, well, I guess not that scene specifically, but when we first see the Mortis God statues in the last episode of Ahsoka season 1, that was the first thing I thought of was that concept art was eventually Ahsoka and Sabine are going to have to climb up that mountain and get to the snow-capped mountain.
They're tracing his steps.
Exactly. So now that this has been posted, I would only assume this is one of two things. This is before they get to the top of that hand, or the hand points them to where they need to be. And now they're climbing up to that glimmering light in the sky that Balin was looking at as well at the end across the skyline. So it's just very cool that this is here. Anytime Dave posts a doodle, it's fantastic. I mean,
so good.
And it's also that thing of it always, for no pun intended, points us in the right direction of what's going to happen next. Just like we saw with Ahsoka in Ahsoka season 1, where she gets engulfed by the water. It's the same thing that he drew in that concept art that they ended up turning into cards from Rebels. The world between worlds being a world of water, all of that stuff. The best thing about Dave Filoni, and look, there's a lot of people who don't like him. There are some people who point to him and say that he's the reason Star Wars is ruined, which I don't think Star Wars is ruined. I don't think Star Wars is dead. The stuff that Dave does is incredibly exciting to me because of nuggets like this that show that he has a plan, not only a plan going forward, but that he is implementing the plan from past to future, and that it's been in the works for a long time. So at least knowing what we see now has a through line from what he has created and what will eventually come out, which a lot of fans say that that's the reason the sequels weren't so good and other Star Wars stuff hasn't been great, is because there was no plan. Dave is the embodiment of somebody with a plan. And yeah, things get switched up here and there. Mando gets a new movie. He gets a movie. Rey's getting a movie. Stuff will get shifted in the timeline. However, he's been talking about doing this stuff since before Rebels came out. And if this has always been the plan, that truly excites me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a really good question in the chat, but hold on. So Star Wars Nerd said, can you guys recommend anyone who makes good clone helmets? So I haven't dabbled with custom helmets. All mine are like Hasbro Black Series. You got someone, Grayson?
I know. Lainey, are you still in the chat?
Drop it
because she knows. Yeah, she's got a dope fives helmet. I know she wants another one. I don't remember who makes them though. So I'm sorry, I can't help you out.
Actually,
honestly, I would go on Reddit.
Or you just go to Lainey's channel.
You should.
Shout out Lainey.
Did she ever do there she is. There's the video.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'll drop this link. Her fives helmet is fire.
Who's that?
Fire.
Sam. Oh, dude, he rules. If you don't follow him on Instagram, dude, go follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
He's the dude. Where is he? Right here. This guy kills it with helmets. He did a Ahsoka helmet of the 501st Legion, the 332nd. And it has all of the snow on it, like the end of Clone Wars season 7. So it's like all busted, like the helmet that Vader finds. It's sick. This guy's sick. This guy's is really good at what he does.
Yeah, dude, I was on there and I was mighty tempted by some Republic Commando helmets.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Yo, me too. We got the nerd dad in the building. What up, Chris?
What's up?
PJ in the building. What up, PJ?
Yo, what up, dude?
All right, so John's question, do you think we could get the Mando movie late 2025, like December, and Rey movie maybe May 2026? I think it's possible, because if they film everything and drop it, like the December Christmas movie will be the Mando movie, and then they do have a May time slot for a Star Wars movie. If they were going to record the Rey movie now at the same time, it's possible. You know they want to rush it out.
I just don't want them to do a Solo thing again, because that was what Last Jedi and Solo did. And let's just say in some hypothetical world that the Mando movie, at the very least, is just, it's just whatever, it's just fine. People, middle of the road. I mean, The Last Jedi, and also other than Solo, was dropped when Infinity War was out, which was the stupidest decision ever.
Yeah.
They got to be like, they were competing against themselves, So, I mean, it's possible, but I'm someone, and I might be a unpopular opinion. I like my Star Wars movies dosed out in bigger spaces. It gets me more excited. It gets me more hype. The hype builds in just general community. Be like, oh, hey, a Star Wars movie is back in theater. And, even when Disney was first starting their stuff, they were doing them a year apart, which I argue is, at that time was good. Now we should probably dial it back, but I would still like one at least every 3 years, and it's been 5. So, I'm ready for something. But honestly, it's the beginning of 2024. Like, as long as I think they could, assuming they get Pedro, for at least one insert shot or something where he's, because they're probably going to show his face, like you said, Will. Pedro gets butts and seats. People love
brown
Pedro
eyes.
Pascal.
Come on, it's brown eyes.
He's and listen, I love him too. So I think he has really the only thing that's on his radar is Last of Us season 2, and I think that'll film this summer.
I think he has like 10 things. I was watching Josh's live earlier, the Den of Nerds, and he's
so
got
much stuff.
Yeah, it's Last of Us. He's got Gladiator. He might be in Fantastic Four, and like he named like a ton of stuff. So it's kind of like
that he's potentially going to be in. And now it's like his lineup, his schedule is all over the place.
He did post it on his story though, the announcement. I don't know if you guys saw that on Instagram.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, he'll always be the voice. And I think and that's the thing too. It's like, especially me, when all of that stuff was going on with Mando season 3, and then you get to the end and you don't see his face, which has kind of been a reoccurring theme. And you see it at the end of season 1, you see it in the Bill Burr episode, which I think might be my favorite episode of The Mandalorian.
Dude, underrated.
Really? It is a really good one. It is a good one.
So good. That you see Boba Fett come in there, and he gets the new paint job. That is such a good episode. But not only that, Pedro does get butts and seats, like you said. So for them not to leverage his face as more than just a voice actor would be kind of strange, especially because there are a lot of fans who are Star Wars fans now because of The Mandalorian, right?
Yep.
There are people who
a ton.
Oh my gosh, there were people who might have watched Star Wars when they were a kid and then they didn't do anything. And then Mando came back out. They watched season 1, they watched season 2, and they were like, whoa, let me get back into this. It's kind of that MCU effect of people who weren't really comic book fans who then watched the MCU, and then they were like, they're on YouTube now watching lore videos about how Spider-Man was doing this. And it's that same thing of building a fandom. And Mando has a lot of that credit to fans who are now new fans of Star Wars, and old fans coming back as well. I mean, how many fans of the original trilogy, like old head fans, saw Mando for the first time after the sequels, after Rogue One, after Solo, and they were like, oh, Star Wars is back. This is what I remember it being. So for them not to put Pedro in the movie for a cameo of a face shot would be very surprising to me. It's also like, you got to capitalize on your main actor. I was saying it to in the chat as well, where I wouldn't be surprised if they showed Pedro's face in the theater, or like a cut scene of like his helmet starting to come off and you see his chin and you're like, oh, Pedro's
or
back.
they just take at the very least in the trailer, take a shot from the first 2 seasons and be like, oh, here's the Mandalorian. Did you know he's the Mandalorian?
Him holding Grogu and being like, the story continues, just like Dave said. Like it'll be they're gonna use Pedro because he is such a bargaining chip with fans at this point. Like he's at the point where Pedro can do no wrong. I don't think there's been a project that he's been in other than Wonder Woman 84 that
he was the best part of that movie.
Exactly. Like fans really didn't like that movie, but they were like, oh, Pedro was good at least. You know what I mean?
Life is good, but it can be better.
But it can be better. He's the redeeming quality for a lot of stuff, and he does great work. So I think it's a huge bargaining chip for Disney.
Oh yeah. He's like the thing right now.
Yeah.
Like, I literally said, I was like, they need their internet daddy to get money. That's exactly what they need, because that's what he is.
There was that photo of whatever the main drag in LA is, where all the billboards are, and it was Mando season 3, and then right across the street it was The Last of Us season 1, and Pedro's on both billboards at the same time, which is insane. Like, it's just nuts. But going back to the Mandalorian of it all, I think that this will be a good story, at least from the sense of Disney's got to believe in this to put it in theaters. You know what I mean? They understand that PR for Star Wars has not been the best as of pre-COVID, right? Like, after COVID, with Luke coming back in Mando season 2, it was Kenobi, Mando season 3, Tales of the Jedi. It goes back up. Then Andor, which is one of the most divisive projects that Disney has ever done. And then Ahsoka, and then the Rey stuff and the sequels. It's just like, look, you see that divide in the fandom continuing to grow, and Mando was kind of that place where both sides of that hill could hang out and be like, all right, middle ground here, we all enjoy Mando. So it makes sense that they're putting this in theaters. I just hope the story delivers and it's not where we see like a Mando season 3 and it's a lot of filler. There's some cool stuff, but it's just so jam-packed that it really doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even like, I mean, I love his episodes, at least the first episode he's in of Book of Boba Fett, but like it's so shoehorned. I don't want it. I don't want it to be like, let's just shoehorn him in the movie and make some money. You know, we got to get this ball rolling again. Like, but yeah, you're right. You can track, like in my mind, I can track the peaks, the pinnacles of the Star Wars fandom unity. And honestly, like truly the highest it has been in the past 4 years was when Luke came back.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
And there's been small highs, but it hasn't nearly been to the level of like that. You know, that was it.
That everybody was back.
Yeah.
When after that 12-hour period of Luke being on screen, everyone was back. People binge watched Mando season 2 because they were ready to see that last episode. It was the best kept secret for the longest time, and it delivered. It got people back into Star Wars regardless of the weird deepfake technology. And then, look, there's a lot of people who didn't like the uncanny valleyness of Luke in Book of Boba Fett, but I was in tears the entire time.
It's one of the best Luke scenes ever.
Him repeating what Yoda taught him and all of those things to Grogu, with Grogu on his back doing the flips in the same way he does it in Empire Strikes Back, is in tears the entire time. It's exactly what you wanted to see of that little taste that you got in Mando season 2 in a full episode. Only thing is, it was in Book of Boba Fett, and it had nothing to do with Boba Fett. So for this movie to have Mando be the way it is, like you said, Grayson, that he's not shoehorned into a story, and it's not like it's not. A lot of people are referring to Dave's film as the Mandoverse tie-in film, where it's going to be that Avengers Infinity War Endgame where they're all going to be there, and it's going to be Luke and Cal Kestis is still alive. It's going to be that thing where
Connor.
A lot of fans think that they're all going to be there.
Connor's video killed me. He was like, let him die. He needs to die about Cal Kestis. Like,
he's going to die, by the way.
He's going to be dead. Somebody's just going to walk up to him and blop him in the back of the head. No, I would love to see an older Cal Kestis, to be honest with you. Like an older Jedi Cal Kestis.
Me too.
In the same way that Obi-Wan got to be an old master at the end of his life and pass on what he had learned, in the same way Yoda did, I think Cal deserves that as well. Another Jedi who I think deserved that, who didn't get it, was your boy himself, Grayson Kanan. So to see somebody else get that in Cal, I think would be an awesome story.
You run the risk. Sorry, we're on a Cal tangent here, but like you run the risk of, okay, if you keep him alive, but say you keep him on Tanalorr, right? Then you run the risk of doing another kind of Ahsoka type thing, or sorry, an Ezra type thing, where he's like, oh well, he's not around technically, and then but if you kill him,
far away,
but if you kill him, you risk just copying Kanan, his sacrifice, and it's like, because the only middle ground is if you make him fall to the dark side, and play Jedi Survivor, you'll see what I mean, I guess. Anyway, it's. Yeah, with the I'm optimistic about the Mando stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your chat thing.
You're good.
As long as the story is good, like I'm still, even after Mando season 3 and Book of Boba Fett, I'm not a Jon Favreau hater. Jon Favreau didn't even do the Book of Boba Fett, and I personally blame the issues with Mando season 3 on Disney. So that's what worries me about the movie. Is just like I don't want the corporate side to influence the integrity of the story, because Mando, I have been so fondly reminiscing on Mando season 1 and 2, like genuinely just some of my favorite Star Wars in those two seasons right there. So
it's some of the best Star Wars we've ever gotten, and it was back to back for 2 seasons. You know what I mean? It was
one key ingredient. I am demanding it. I'm begging if they can get him. Bring Greg Fraser back as the cinematographer for Mandalorian. I don't know if you guys, Will, you know this. He did the Batman, right?
Yep.
And he did the first 2 seasons of Mando, or at least the first season of Mando.
Is he doing that Penguin show? Do you know?
Ooh, I don't know.
It looks eerily similar, and like obviously you have to copy that the way Gotham looks in that because it's the most noir we've ever seen. Gotham. It puts the goth back in Gotham. If you want a pun there,
God, dude, that's my favorite Gotham city ever.
But dude, it looked so good. I'm also excited to see Mando in a movie because hopefully with a movie budget, it won't be trapped in the volume.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
true.
Some production where it's like Andor, where they're on set, they're on location filming for all of these places. Like they easily could have done that with Navarro. However, a lot of it is the volume. So I really hope. And look, Mando season 1 and season 2 were great in the volume. However, season 3 was that backtrack. And like you said, Grayson, I think with the meddling of corporate Disney of, hey, we got to sell more Baby Yoda pajamas. So let's keep this kid back and bring him back in Book of Boba Fett. We need to reunite them immediately. I think we're in a good place with Mando, but I'm a little bit more on the optimistic side of cautiously optimistic. I'm like 70-30 with the Mando movie. We've been burned in the past as Star Wars fans with a lot of projects, so I'm excited it'll be a Mando. I'm excited he's the title character and not a cameo in it. But it's also that thing of let's just hope it's a good story. I was going to ask you guys, though, do you think Mando season 3 suffered because this movie was already in the works?
I think Mando season 3 might have suffered because of Ahsoka to give, and I think it was Seth on my Sith talk was saying that Dave needed a time to get the Ahsoka story out and have it catch up. And it's kind of funny how the Ahsoka show was simultaneously happening at the same time as Mando season 3. Even Carson Teva hopped over, so it's almost like they sacrificed
here and then Ahsoka.
So it's almost like they sacrificed season 3 to get the Ahsoka story out. That way now their paths could cross in this movie, then maybe in Ahsoka season 2, then maybe Filoni's movie, and then maybe a final movie. But it was definitely sacrificed, whether it was on purpose or from meddling. Either way, it was sacrificed.
I definitely think season 3 was more likely, a fast-tracked version of 2 seasons, in my opinion. I don't know that for sure, but the way it progresses, like especially with what happens in Book of Boba Fett, because I kind of count that as like Mando season 3. They were like, hey, we got to get Grogu back, and then let's just do the Mandalorian or the Mandalore plot. Let's go get Mandalore. Oh, Moff Gideon, he's back in 2 episodes. Oh, he's dead now. Like it felt like a very rushed sequence of events that they were like, just so they could get the Mandalorian to be free. Because I don't think they knew. They were like, we have to make him free in the case that he's in this Heir to the Empire movie, or he's in Ahsoka, or let Dave do his Ahsoka thing. And then, now he is doing a movie, but we're still like, I don't know. I don't think they know. That's my worry. Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm getting at is like how rushed Mando season 3 was, and then the Mando insert for a lot of Book of Boba Fett, where Tamora Morrison himself was like, hey, this guy came in and took over my show.
Yeah.
Of course he was joking, but it is like the writing's on the wall where that is what happened. So that's my thing of, do we think that, at least myself is what I'm speculating here, is they knew that they were going to put Mando in the theaters at some point. I think, if it's me guessing, they knew that after Mando season 2.
Yeah.
They were like, we can put this guy on the big screen. And that's been in the works. However, they knew that they were going to do Andor. They knew that they were going to do Ahsoka. Dave was already kind of merging into that CCO creative officer role. So I think season 3 was kind of an amalgamation of a lot of things happening at the same time. It was a major expansion after season 2, and it was a major like disbanding of a lot of things, especially because, like, perfect example, the Rangers of the New Republic episode that we got, episode 2 of Mando season 3 with what's his name, Dr. Pershing, and
the Andor episode,
and Tim Meadows, who I don't know his name in Star Wars, but that's the comedian's name, who does like the bureaucracy side of things of, well, you don't have your ID on you, so I can't. Yeah, with Carson Teva and all of that stuff. It was a huge growth, and then they released all of these projects. We're going to do the Droid Show, Vision Season 2, Rangers of the New Republic, a Lando series, and then it was just like, hey, we got to dial this back if we want any of this to be good. So I think it was kind of that, the what it looks like in my head is the end of Loki with all of those timelines.
Like
so it's one line, and then it explodes, and it's like, let's just do everything right now. And then they got to bring it back to that tree and just base of what it is, which I think they're going to try and hang their hat on with this Mando movie. I also wanted to ask too, another thing that I was thinking of today, and Tony, you bring it up, with the whole Dave and Ahsoka happening at the same time as Mandalorian season 3. One thing I am kind of worried about in Dave as this role, and it's probably the only thing I'm worried about with Dave in this role, is I don't want him to be spread too thin, because
like Feige.
Exactly, because when he works on something specifically, and like when Ahsoka was coming out, it was like, hey, this is Dave, nobody touch it, just put him in a box and let him do what he does.
Yeah.
And it worked. It was fantastic. I just don't want him now, as the guy who's overseeing all of this, to not have the hands that he does in all of this, in the same way, to talk about Empire and Return of the Jedi again, of George being like, I'm just going to write the script for this one. I'll let somebody else direct. And then him just standing behind going, I think you should move the camera that way. Like the backseat directing that George did.
Yeah.
I hope it's that way with Dave. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be spread too thin. That's my only worry.
Yeah, I agree.
No, for sure.
I love the idea, of course, and I think we're going to get into the Charmine stuff or whatever. Like, that is one thing that has made me optimistic with all the projects going forward, is like, at this point in time, like, nothing has really been filming or whatever. Like, he's going to be there. He's going to be kind of overseeing these smaller things, and kind of, hopefully, that's what I hope. But like, I want him to be able to like go fully on Ahsoka season 2, because this announcement, like, I was worried when Ahsoka wrapped, because I was like, oh man, like, this is really good, but like, I'm kind of worried like this might be the end of the story, like, and then now we're like, okay, we're good. Like, I can go back and rewatch Ahsoka season 1 and be like, all right, we're still going somewhere. Balin isn't done, and he's gonna have to be recast, unfortunately, but like, I'm excited about that, and I hope they just kind of let Dave do his own thing. But I also hope Dave also doesn't feel like just the gray hair is just continually just growing, from his stress. So
it's a completely valid worry too, because I think, for using Mando season 2 as an example, we all thought the story was going to go in a certain direction, and then we're there, and we all were like, okay, this has to be where it goes. And as much as it is wrong for fans to speculate and then be disappointed when their speculations or their expectations are not met, I think as fans, though, there are those key elements, especially in something as pure as Star Wars and their themes, to hit. Like, you got to check those boxes for it to be Star Wars. If there's 10 things on the list, you got to hit at least 6 of them, and then it feels like Star Wars. However, when it comes to like what you said about that worry with Ahsoka, where you were like at the end, oh, I don't know if that story is going to be what's continued. After Book of Boba Fett, where we were like, okay, is everything just going to be wrapped up in a weird 2-part episode of somebody else? In Acolyte season 1, is there going to be a flash forward of Ahsoka and what happens on Peridia? It's like, we were worried, but going back to the Dave Doodle, it shows, and I'm going to say it again, we're being pointed in the right direction here of where we're trying to go. Yeah. I also, and here's my putting on my Beskar foil hat right now for conspiracy theories, we've only seen this on screen in live action for finished products of the finger pointing the other way, do you think that the finger pointing backwards now or the other direction means that we're going to get a lot more flashbacks and it's going to be a time thing of, oh, they're looking the other direction? Because everything we've ever seen of the Mortis gods in Ahsoka is pointing the other direction. Balin standing, looking the other direction. Every time, it's always from the 180-degree rule in film school that is burned into my brain. It's all from that right side direction.
But
This
this is on the
we
left.
see everything on the left, and it's pointed to the left. So do you think that's a weird nod to what we might see happen in season 2? It's just speculative. I have no idea. I'm not saying that they're going to be going back in time. However, with a lot of world between worlds stuff, and that being like the pseudo time travel, do we think that there might be some time stuff
Think about
going on?
this, right? Think about this. The father's in the middle. The direction we are currently looking, although you cannot see her, is the direction of the daughter. The daughter is facing that way. I am the biggest proponent of, I want Ahsoka to turn into the new daughter. The daughter's role has been vacant for a long time. We have the convor that I'm blanking on its name, that follows her around, that is like kind
Morai, the owl.
But Balin, I always say this, when it was him, he had, first of all, he was in the middle, but it was that other side, the direction. I mean, you get the straight shot, obviously, but like it was kind of more angled the way of facing the sun, kind of that tilt. But he also has a cloak of like, lighter colors on the side of the daughter and dark colors on. And so it makes me think that like he wants to fill the role of the father, because that's no longer there anymore. He's kind of this middle ground thing, but maybe that's not where his destiny lies. He's darker than he may think. I don't know. It maybe gives into that sort of, maybe not a time thing, but maybe more so like an alignment thing of their destiny. I don't know. But I think you're onto something there.
To pull into what we read in Plagueis and the last time we discussed it, maybe it's that thing of predetermined destiny and what you want your destiny to be, but somebody else is going to come fill that role anyway, like Plagueis, who thought he was going to be the one to do what Sidious ended up doing, but he was just the bridge for Sidious to get there. Maybe that's what Balin ends up realizing here.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe. I think one little speculation I have is, I have a feeling maybe they have a plan for Balin now, or maybe they recasted him, because like for them to announce Ahsoka season 2 and for him to drop this picture where Balin just was, you have to have a plan for that. So I'm wondering if we're going to get an announcement soon about that, maybe.
I don't think we'll have an announcement on new casting for Balin until Celebration next year.
I was going to say, yeah.
Damn. Well, good thing I'll be there front row.
I was going to say, hey, Tony, he'll be there. Subscribe all of his channels. Yeah. He will be the first person in that room.
I have a feeling like they will announce the casting like a month or two, or maybe even a few weeks before Celebration,
and then
at Celebration they'll do an in memoriam thing for Rey. They'll do this big thing of remembering Rey, and Rey did this fantastic thing, and then all of the questions for the new guys casting are going to be, how are you going to fill those shoes, as an indirect question that a lot of people are going to say of, they want him to come out on stage and in his first appearance go, I'm never going to fill the shoes of Ray Stevenson. He was a phenomenal man, a great actor. I'm just excited for the character and continue his legacy. So everybody goes, yay, we got a new guy. We're going to see more Balin. If I had to guess from a PR Disney side of things, that's what it would be for when they announce the new Ray casting or Balin casting.
Yeah.
Let's catch up with the chat, because we had a bunch more people pop in. But before we do, shout out to all 46 of you guys watching. Be sure to hit that like. And if you guys aren't subscribed to Mortis FM, the link is in the chat again. Go show Grayson some love. Let me refresh this actually.
And Cole, my other half isn't here.
And Cole's just chilling right now. He's probably hanging out at the beach. I don't know what he's doing.
Cole's at school. He's going to school to be an archæologist, correct?
Indiana Jones?
He's Indiana Jones. Actually, no, the complete opposite. He's going for game design. So,
this belongs in a museum.
Star Wars Nerd said, "Is Bounty's helmets good if you know?" So actually, he's supposed to send me and Will some Clone Trooper helmets. So once we get them, watch the video. We'll let you know. We'll see. Paul in the building. What's up, Paul? 3 weeks till Megacon. Yes, super hyped. You can pretty much catch all of us there. So if you guys are going to Megacon, we'll be there. Will has a panel. His photo ops are free. So be sure to look for us.
Yeah, we'll be doing photo ops at the Panera Bread down the road from the theater.
Are you going to make another Megacon update video before the con? Actually, I might make one tonight because we did get more news about the Hayden and Hewen show that they're going to have. Hayden added an extra day and they added Cal Kestis. So a lot more news popped up.
Guys, I need your opinion in the chat. All right. I don't know which day to go. Should I go Saturday or should I go Sunday? And the determining factor is should I just ball out, take money, and just go meet Hayden, or should I meet Cameron? Because I like both of them.
Hayden, you could only meet on Sunday though, because he sold out.
I know.
Saturday.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, if I do Sunday, I could do Hayden, but if I do Saturday, I could. Most people will be there. I can go to the panel with Hayden and Ewan, and maybe I can meet Cameron. I think I might throw up if I meet Hayden. I won't lie.
Oh, yeah, do it, bro. I'm telling you. Once you go Hayden, you don't go back, bro. I always say.
If I was you and I was already, because it sounds like that money is already burnt in your pocket. I would say do the Saturday, and then that way you can get the panel, see Hayden as well as the Cameron, as opposed to just Sunday and you get no panel, you get no Cameron, and you just meet Hayden.
And then
you know
maybe I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna go on Sunday.
I just
anyway.
meet the chosen one. Oh, what a rough Sunday.
Well, you don't get to. You just get to. Hey, what's up? Take a photo. Nice to see you. Don't get COVID. And then on Saturday, you're like, at least you get to hear him and Ewan talk about, because they're going to talk about the behind the scenes of Kenobi. Hayden. This is Hayden's first appearance since Ahsoka too.
Yep.
So a lot of those questions are going to be Ahsoka questions. So, and also there's all that stuff about Hayden signing with a new
agency or whatever,
back into acting. Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe we might be seeing a lot more Hayden.
All right.
Especially with Ahsoka season 2, if they're going to keep doing this Mortis God stuff and the worlds.
They have to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Flint Ren Gaming says, "Do you think we'll get a celebration in 2026 to help promote everything?" So I was thinking about this the other day. I have a feeling. So 2027, they have to have celebration because it's 50 years of A New Hope. That's like set in stone.
100%.
But 2026, I have a feeling they're going to do it back to back because it hasn't been in the States since 2022. So 2025 is Japan. They could do 2026 and 2027 back to back in the States to make up for it being gone for so long, because it just was in London. We're off this year. It's in Tokyo next year. Americans are mad. Like they want it in their backyard. So
usually whenever they skip a year, like like in this instance, they skip 2024, they're coming back next year. Like they likely never skip a year after that either. So surely,
that's true too.
So surely like there will be one in 2026.
Yeah. But I can tell you guys right now, without a doubt, on April 20th, 2025, that's the last day of Japan celebration. At that last panel, they announced when and where the next one is. So literally April 20th, we'll know the answer to this question. So I cannot wait for that. Major Jedi in the building. What's going on? My man Flex. So this Friday's episode of Sith Talk is with my man Flex here. It was an awesome chat. I can't wait to drop it on Friday. Yes, sir. Quinlan says, "What's your guys' thoughts on the volume? I personally hate it now. Makes everyone feel so tight."
Quinlan was here.
So I liked it in 1 and 2. I like it when it's used well, but not for everything.
Yeah. I think honestly, it really just depends. For me, I like it. It really depends on the cinematographer, because the way it's used, like depending on how it's shot, it doesn't actually feel tight. It's just in like Book of Boba Fett and Mando season 3, and
Kenobi.
Kenobi was what I was gonna say. That's where I really was like, all right, I'm getting tired.
And they didn't really use it like none of the environments were like, wow, like Star Wars
is all very tight
and dark. Like Even the street level stuff, like when he's on, I forget what
planet or city he's in, where he sees the old veteran clone, the homeless clone, who's like out there pedaling. Even that compared to like the cityscapes we saw in Andor were completely different, and they were basically the same thing of like that the futuristic Blade Runner style city with the neon lights and all that stuff. It was the exact same thing, but one was with the volume, and one, as much as it was a lot of it CGI, one was definitely more it felt larger, especially too like the Mando episode of Book of Boba Fett. We also saw a city that looked just like that when he goes to collect on the bounty. Exactly. That whole city, I was like, whoa, this is like huge scope. However, in Kenobi and other times, it was just like, come on. Yep. So.
Yep, that is true. So, what up, Darth King? Welcome to the stream. So now I think we're going to get to Will's favorite part of the show.
Trivia? Oh.
So, the floor is yours, Will.
Charmine. Oh, Charmine. Look. I'm going to start off by saying, I'm going to look into the camera. I will never yuck someone else's yum in terms of Star Wars. Okay? That's number one. Number two, I'm never gonna talk negatively about a project before it comes out, especially in terms of Star Wars. As a Star Wars fan, anytime that I get new Star Wars or I hear there's going to be new Star Wars, I'm going to speculate. I'm going to criticize. I'm going to talk about the story. I'm going to have expectations for what's coming out, but I'm never going to expect or hope that something fails, especially with the IP in the franchise that I love so much that you see it surrounding my entire office. I wear it every day. I have it tattooed on my body. I'm never going to hope that a franchise does poorly just to prove something wrong, or as a weird point of, hey, Star Wars is dead, isn't it? That's why we want this project to fail. That's so corny.
Yep.
Number two, every fan of Star Wars is a Star Wars fan. We were just talking about it before getting on here. I do not care if you are just a fan of Star Wars Resistance. I do not care if you are just a fan of the animated droid series that came out in the 1980s and you don't like any other Star Wars project outside of that. You are a Star Wars fan. And for anybody else who comes at those people and says that they are not Star Wars fans, regardless of race, gender, creed, sexual orientation, their shoe size, whatever their favorite color is, you are wrong. You are in the wrong for saying that on Twitter, on Instagram, in your basement where you are just talking to your wall and your mom who is bringing you fish sticks. You are wrong. Okay? With all of the stuff, and I'm done talking to the camera here because now I'm talking to you guys. That's the end of my rant. Not the end of my rant, but now let's have some discourse about it. The stuff with the Charmine side of things, where there was that comment that came out where she likes to make men uncomfortable. One, it's in terms of the storytelling for a documentary that was mainly about women suppression.
Yeah.
So if she
makes sense.
If she wants to make men feel uncomfortable, that's probably the place you want to do it, because those men in the documentary were the antagonist, the villain. It was a real world situation that happened 8 years ago. It's not right now. It's not a current comment.
And has nothing to do with Star Wars.
It has nothing to do with Star Wars. Correct. 100%. And there's other interviews and stuff where she's talking about it where it doesn't have to do with Star Wars. So for me as a fan, I can't look at that. Am I like, oh, she likes to make men feel uncomfortable? It's not in her daily life. It's just for that one project where she was a documentarian, where the whole goal was to show that, and she generalized a little bit in the interview, and not to save her or put words in her mouth here. In my interpretation of what she said, the documentary had these men who are doing awful things to women in a foreign country.
Yes.
Correct? She's a documentarian.
Yeah.
That's what the whole point of that documentary was. Once again, 8 years ago. As somebody who's watching that, I want those men to feel uncomfortable as well because they did awful, horrendous things to those women. If you are on the side of, well, I'm a man, I don't want to feel uncomfortable. One, go put your pants back on. It's okay to feel uncomfortable every once in a while. Number two, it has nothing to do with the Star Wars film. She is not making the Rey movie until I see her in an interview at Star Wars Celebration or anywhere where she says, I cannot wait for this Rey movie because I'm going to make stormtroopers feel uncomfortable. Or I'm going to make other Star Wars fans who happen to be male feel uncomfortable with the Rey stuff. Until that happens, sorry, I'm excited for this Rey film. As much as the only thing I own from the sequels is a little Ben Solo Funko Pop over there from Rise of Skywalker. I don't like the sequels. Okay? Luke Skywalker is my favorite character, and The Last Jedi did a whole lot of stuff that I don't like to Luke Skywalker, right? That stuff, those three films are my least favorite of all of the Star Wars content that we've ever gotten, okay? It's sad that I like some episodes of Visions more than I like three huge blockbuster films that my favorite franchise has made, right? However, like I said at the beginning of this, I am never going to not want something to do well or be excited or hope that something is great before it comes out until I see it. If I see it and it sucks, I'll be the first one to say it sucks.
Yep, me
but
too.
I'm not sitting on the edge of my seat going, ooh, I hope the Rey film sucks. I hope it's great. I hope the Rey film is so good that it makes me like those other three films more. But that's all I got to say. Every fan of Star Wars is a fan of Star Wars, and you are allowed to be, and you are completely valid in that. The only time that your fandom is not valid is when you are telling somebody else that their fandom is not valid. And that's the end of what I got, folks.
Yes.
Man, I'm sweaty now. I'm happy I didn't wear pants.
Facts.
Whoa, can we get a shot of that? What?
Can we get a shot of that? Using the volume, can we zoom in on Will No Pants?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I cannot say anything better than you just did. The only thing that I will continue to address on the thing is like, first of all, people, there are more concerns about, because she said in an interview recently that she was like, it is time for women to shape Star Wars.
Yeah.
That comment off the cuff is a little weird, but let's think about it. There has never been a female director of Star Wars movies, specifically movies. There has been for television.
Marcia Lucas does not count. She edited, and she had a fantastic part in the making of the original trilogy. However, she was not the director, and she was not at the helm for those films. It was still George Lucas.
Yes. And it has, it has been in film, it has been men through and through. That is just a fact.
Bryce Dallas Howard worked on episodes of The Mandalorian and other Star Wars TV shows. It has
Fire.
not been a film. She does a fantastic job. If they gave Bryce Dallas Howard a film, I'd be like, let's go.
Oh,
and
let's
if
go.
Bryce
God.
Dallas Howard
Just
said those
do
comments, I'd be
Just
like,
do it.
yeah, great. It is time for
Yeah.
a woman to make a Star Wars movie. However, this is another thing, and sorry to cut you off, Grayson, but this is the other one thing that I wanted to say. Anytime that these people who are in the comments or on Twitter saying, oh, well, it's not time for a woman to make Star Wars, it's time for there to just be a good Star Wars film. Why are those two things mutually exclusive?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't a woman making Star Wars and the Star Wars story be great? Dude, if they were like, hey, it's time for a guy named Will who sits in his room and yells about Star Wars all day to make a Star Wars film, I'd be like, let's go. It is time. But right now, it's regardless of who is doing it, I just want it to be a good film.
Yeah.
And for people who are saying, well, it can't be a woman because it should just be a good film. That does not
Doesn't
make any sense, because you can have a good film and it can be time for somebody else to be at the helm, and that person can also be a woman or a squirrel or a plunger or whatever you want it to be, as long as it's a good movie. And it's irritating how people use that and funnel and fuel their hatred for a film that they have not even seen yet. We haven't gotten a trailer. We've only gotten speculation of what this film might potentially be about in 2 years. We haven't gotten a poster.
We don't know anything.
We know nothing. We know nothing except for Daisy Ridley stepping out on stage. And dude, I was actually ticked off. Like, yeah, it was sad, but I was ticked off today when I saw on Twitter, there were comments from somebody pulled up that Daisy had said from when she was in an interview, and they interviewed her at how she felt after The Force Awakens came out. And this is a quote from that. After watching the first film, I told myself that I was shit, that I was less. I cried my eyes out of my body, tears, thinking I was the worst thing that has ever happened to Star Wars. And that was after The Force Awakens, which a lot of people say is the best of those three.
It's my favorite of the three.
So now we're already starting that, and she's only been on Star Wars Celebration stage for 30 seconds. She didn't say anything. She just stood there. It sucks. It sucks. I don't care if you don't like the character. I don't care if you don't like Jar Jar Binks. I don't care if you don't like Rose from the sequels. They are not the character. The character is not the actor. For you to go at the actor for what they did, perfect example is Hayden Christensen. They shit on him for years after the prequels came out, and now that he's back, everybody is singing his praises. It should not have to take for me personally, it should not have to take 2005 to 2023, almost 20 years for a person to go, oh, you know what? I like him now. I'm happy he's back. Give them their flowers now. And if you don't like it, hey, you don't have to say that you don't like the actor. People have to understand that discourse is more than the actor. It's about the story. If you didn't like the story, you wouldn't be a fan of it. People aren't fans of stuff for the actor. They go in wanting to see the actor, but then the story happens and then they're not fans of it. Mm-hmm. Dude, Oscar Isaac is a phenomenal actor. I am such a fan of Oscar Isaac. My least favorite projects that you're in are 3 Star Wars films.
Yep.
It's not Oscar Isaac. It's that. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't think people understand what goes into movie making. So, Spice Runners Lounge, respectfully, I disagree. Don't go after, listen, it's not just one person's fault when it comes to a movie. You know, like, there are so many factors that go into it. So let's for this Rey movie, for example, the sequels, yes, people already don't like Rey, okay? I am not a Rey hater, but I can level with you that she is not she is the weakest written character out of all of the protagonists in Star Wars. It's just fact. But that doesn't...
Finn.
Okay, well, I'm talking like leading Jedi character,
okay.
like Luke, Luke, Anakin, whatever. Finn is another thing, all right?
But they all happen within the same 3 movies. So
right, exactly. And Finn is also another thing. So Charmin is directing this movie. I want people to understand that. I have a little bit of background in film. I would not call myself a filmmaker, but I know about things. Documentaries are one of the hardest things to pull off ever because you are using limited resources. You are using interviews. You're using B-roll. You are using things from real life to craft a narrative that you want to tell. And what she did was she told a narrative about how in Eastern countries, women are tortured and abused and other horrific things by men because that's just the culture there. And that was what she was highlighting. Now, Charmin, I believe she worked on Miss Marvel as well. I'm not a Miss Marvel hater. It's not the greatest show ever. Whatever. She was brought in as a director. She's also not writing the movie. All right. People dog on Rian Johnson for The Last Jedi. I don't think he wrote that movie well, but he directed it well. I will say that to him. Like, it is an amazingly directed and shot film, but in terms of writing, it's not a great Star Wars movie, okay? Charmin is not writing it, all right? If she was writing it, I'd be a little concerned, all right? She's directing it. That means she is helping the actors kind of go through these scenes, kind of the pace or whatever. Let's also keep in mind, Dave is also COO. He will be involved into this film in some capacity, even if it is sprinkled a little bit. But the writer of the show is Peaky Blinder, one of the writers from Peaky Blinders, which is an award-winning show with Cillian Murphy. And it people sing its praises. I have not watched it. I want to see it. But from what I understand, that is the case. There are so many people that work on movies. Now, if the script for this movie sucks, there is only so much Charmin can do, and Charmin will get the blame from it. Now, I am hoping that is not the case because I want this movie to be good, and I want to love Rey, all right? Rey is a character that, like, there are so many little girls that look up to Rey, and I have seen that. If you go to Galaxy's Edge in either California or Florida, you will see there are girls dressed up as Rey, and it brings a tear to my eye. I met a kid as well, and I was like, who is your favorite character? And he said Finn, and I'm like, man, that's awesome, but we need to make these characters better. And so this is the opportunity. Let's not just be tearing this down before it's even out. Like, this is the opportunity to be like, okay, I like the sequels better now because this movie, fixed some things. That's what the Clone Wars did with Anakin's development. Like, unfortunately, I don't like that. That is the meta of Star Wars, is that something comes out and then we have to go back and fix it. Oh, well, what am I going to do? We can hopefully change that, but we got to do something. Yeah. Let's give this movie a chance. And hey, listen, the comments about, like, Charmin saying that, like, she wants to be a woman who shaped Star Wars. Yes, women have shaped Star Wars, but she's the first director. I think she just maybe didn't fully know what she was talking about in terms of, like, directors of TV and stuff. But yes, she's the first director of a movie. That is a huge, huge deal. She is just the director. All right. She is not the writer. She is not the actor. She is not in all these other roles. Director is a big thing, but they're often the person that gets clowned. All right. Like Will said, if this movie comes out and it sucks, I will be the first person to say, yeah, that movie wasn't really good. And I think Lucasfilm should learn from this. However, it's not out yet. We don't know the script. And from what I can tell, here's another piece of evidence right here. Daisy Ridley has been on some really good track records for, like, art house stuff. She's been in some video games. She's coming out with a movie this year that I saw that looked like, I think she will get an Oscar nomination from it. That is how good Daisy Ridley, she started with Star Wars. A lot of these actors did with Hayden and Natalie Portman, and look at Natalie Portman now. I mean, she is risen to absolute A-list stardom, right?
Yep.
Daisy is a fantastic actor. I like Daisy Ridley a lot. Okay, she gets a really bad rap. I don't think she would have came back to this movie if the script, or it didn't even sound at least a little bit appealing, So that gets me excited. Again, we can judge things maybe when we hear the script, when we see a trailer, things like that. But let's just, if you're going into the mindset with any Star Wars project that it's going to suck, and I want it to suck, and I hope it sucks so that people can prove that Disney is ruining Star Wars, you're part of the problem. All right, let's just calm down. And if Charmin, if here's the thing. Sorry, well, I'll give it to you.
Oh, no. I've just had a great thought, and I'm very excited to hear what you have to say.
Okay. There's also a chance here that with these comments, this is what happens with Star Wars things. Like, again, the movie isn't made. So many Star Wars projects are like, we're going to make this project, and then it falls through. I mean, I can't even think of all of them. Like Raiders of the New Republic, Rogue Squadron, the Benioff and Weiss movies, the Rian Johnson movies, the Taika Waititi. That movie's not happening, by the way. I guarantee it's not happening. Like, there's all these movies and things that happen, and writers and directorship. Think about Solo, right? You had Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and then that shifted. Like, there is a chance that she just may not stick around with this movie. But until then, like, let's just see what happens. And, the fact that if she translate any of her storytelling skills and her directing skills from a documentary into a movie, I think we'll be okay. I think we might actually have something really good here. And I will be very sad if it doesn't. But
do you know who else was a small filmmaker before taking on a giant IP franchise? Christopher Nolan. 3 Batman films. Right before Batman Begins, Warner Brothers did not think they were going to put all of their money on this guy, Chris. They were like, oh, Chris? He's done some cool stuff. Memento was cool. He made 3 films. That's about it. We don't know if we can give him a large-scale IP. Those movies are heralded not only as some of the best Batman movies, not only as some of the best comic book movies, but some of the best films. How many people right now do you know that have Dark Knight in their top 5? A ton.
Most.
A lot of people have Dark Knight in their top 5. It's a fantastic film. Christopher Nolan is the perfect example. The only difference that I can see between Christopher Nolan and Charmin, one's a guy, one's a girl. And that's where a lot of it comes in, and a lot of people are pissed about. And if that's why, you're wrong. If that's not why, and you're mad about the comments that she said, okay, I think what Grayson and I are both trying to do here is just give a little bit more context to what was being said. I think the best explanation of all of this was what Luke said from Luke's lightsabers. That video of him explaining all of this was the best explanation for all of that Charmin stuff, of giving more context to the interview, giving more context to what she said, giving more context to how this relates to where we are as Star Wars fans. Look, at the end of the day, we're getting another Star Wars movie. I think we should be excited to at least see it.
Give it a shot.
Because every time we got a sequel, one of the sequels, we saw a trailer and we were like, man, this trailer looks like it's going to be really good. And then the film wasn't. We were all hyped. This is what, since those films, Star Wars has gotten to a really weird place of things being shot down before they even take off.
Yep.
Let's just try it. The thing that I raised my hand about, one of my favorite quotes, and you guys know this, your focus determines your reality. If you are, Qui-Gon Jinn said that, Phantom Menace. If you don't know, go watch it. Qui-Gon Jinn might be one of the smartest Jedi of all time. Maybe smarter than Yoda.
Amen.
Your focus determines your reality. If you are constantly focused on hate and the things that are bad about something and wanting something to be bad and focusing on what could potentially go wrong with something, hey, it determines your reality. Your reality is you're going to get what you focused on. And when you see that movie, regardless of if you actually might have liked it beforehand because you were focused on the negative, it's probably going to be bad in your eyes. Regardless of it being good or bad, or if you actually would have liked it, it's probably going to be bad for you. But if you focus on what could potentially be great about it, or what the signs are for what could potentially go wrong, that's what determines your reality.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon Jinn said it. Qui-Gon Jinn is one of the best Jedi of all time. Listen to Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
Shout out to Evan, Spice Runners Lounge, with the $9.99 super chat.
I also wanted to say here, go after the writer director. I think what Eben was trying to say. Thank you for your super chat, by the way, Eben. I know we don't do the thing like on Spice Runners where you do the Tuscan. That was my best impression of that.
Gonna work on make all the money.
The Tuscanator rail. But
I wanted to. Oh, go ahead.
No. I think what he's saying by this is go after the writer director. I think he's just saying go after the other people who are on staff. You know what I mean?
And I want to correct myself. I didn't understand that I thought you were saying specifically the writer or the director, like just, want like putting all of your hate into one person. Like, first of all, I think hatred is a very strong feeling. But if you're talking about like, there's so much that goes into it. Like, I don't even remember who said it, but like, if something is a turd, no matter how much you polish it, it's still a turd, right? So like, if it sucks, there will be at least various people to blame. And honestly, I mean, I'm at the point where like a lot of the issues that are in Star Wars, and not even just Star Wars, but everything Disney is a lot of Disney corporate stuff. And that's usually where I put a lot of my blame at. Like, I don't even put my blame in Kathleen Kennedy. Like, I think she has a lot of stress on her because she has to appease to the board of directors of Disney, one of the biggest companies in the world. It's a lot of stress. She's not a storyteller, so she's having to like basically greenlight these projects that she thinks is going to make money, and she doesn't really have a hand in like the storytelling. Whereas like, that's Dave's job, right? And that's awesome that we have on board because hopefully they can kind of come together and coexist. And he's gonna be like, well, hey, what about this? But like talking about the Charmin thing, like You know who also was a gamble? George Lucas. George Lucas, he literally, and Spock talking about your focus determines your reality. Think about the people who went into the theater for A New Hope. They had no expectations. They didn't know what that was. They were just along for the ride. When I watched Ahsoka last year, I had a lot of expectations in mind, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be along for the ride, right? Like, that is what I did as a kid, right? I didn't have these expectations as a kid. I did play with my little action figures and stuff. When I went to read a book or a comic or, watch the animation or whatever, I was just there for the ride, And sometimes the ride sucks. I won't lie. That's like, that's in Legends and canon or whatever. But like, George Lucas was a gamble, and you can go watch the documentary on Disney Plus of An Empire of Dreams. Phenomenal documentary. George Lucas was an underdog, all right? And nobody had any faith in him, and he created, one of the biggest franchises, if not the biggest franchise in film history. So, yeah, this is my thoughts. If you guys disagree, I'm sorry. And someone said I was coping. If that's how you feel, then all right. I'm sorry. We just respectfully I disagree, but yeah,
respectfully disagree, and also. This is what I was going to say when you brought up George Lucas. Coping, whatever. I'm sorry that you are not excited for Star Wars. If you're in here and you're commenting on stuff, I would assume that you are a Star Wars fan. It sucks when there's a Star Wars project coming out that you are not excited for and that you think is going to be bad. It sucks when you get a Star Wars project that you don't enjoy as a Star Wars fan. However, I've started to change my mentality to the other side of my fandom, which is comic book stuff. And sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't.
Most of the time, they don't.
If everything was the Fantastic Four movie with what's his name from Whiplash, dude, I still love the Fantastic Four. But that's not my favorite movie. Obviously, I've seen the first 20 minutes of it and I couldn't even watch the rest of that movie. I haven't seen any of the Venom movies. Like, it's just, I love those characters. But it's the same thing of like, not everything is going to hit for you, and not for everybody, but for you. Sometimes not everything is going to be great. And Star Wars is different for a lot of people because for the first 6, at least for me and the people who are in my circle and the 3 of us here, everything was great for full 6 films, right? It was awesome. Yep. And then there were people after the original trilogy came out when the prequels were coming out. Oh, George Lucas ruined my childhood.
Yeah.
Like, there were people who were pissed about Empire when Empire came out after A New Hope. Every time there's going to be somebody mad about it. However, I will continue to say this, not only your focus determines your reality, but shooting down a project before it even comes out without knowing what it's going to be about, and the only thing that you can hang your hatred on is the fact that one character is going to be in it that you generally didn't like from some other films, it just sucks. And that's corny, and I not to sound preachy, I feel sorry for you. Because that sucks. And I wish that you were in our circle and we were all holding hands singing Lochte, whatever the Jabba song is.
Lochte Neck?
Lochte Neck. I hope we were, instead of Kumbaya, Lochte Neck. I wish we were all in holding hands and singing that, but we're not, and that's just Star Wars. So I hope that maybe it comes out and you're wrong. I hope that you're proven wrong by it and you enjoy it. The one thing I was going to say about George being the documentarian, this is a quote from George. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, Lucas says. It's very hard when you are hiring people to know if they're going to mesh with you and if you're going to get what you want. In the end, I don't think he fully understood the movie and what I was trying to do. He's referring to some people who worked on the original trilogy. This is him talking about why his vision was different. Here's the part that's the hitter. I shoot in a very particular way, in a documentarian style, and it takes a lot of hard editing to make it work. So
that's crazy.
There's two things there. He said that he shoots in a more documentarian style. Number two, to make the edit work, which if you want to talk about Marcia Lucas and all of that editing, she worked on it. Number 3, there's a lot of people who say that there's no place for activism in Star Wars. The first 3 films are literally about the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
He says it a million times. It's the most... George Lucas is one of the most liberal people.
And he says in that interview with James Cameron, he was like, in my time, it was like it was about the Viet Cong.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah.
And the Empire was the United States. Like, so for people who say there's no such thing as politics in Star Wars, somebody else said this. I'm stealing it from someone. War is in the name. So it's politics.
Yeah. Unfortunately, war is not little figures running at each other. It's, S1 or SWP1. First of all, I'm not part of this, but I was going to say thanks for being a member, even though we're disagreeing right now. I was going to say, you said she greenlights it, though the captain must take the blame. I mean, yes, there is some, of course, there's going to be a little bit of blame, but I was going to say, you said comparing Lucas. George Lucas, before he did Star Wars, did an experimental film and a movie about cars in the 50s. So that's what I'm saying. We're like,
and
it
also
was
THX 1138.
That's the experimental film. It was an experimental student film. Like, the track record did not lead up to, like, say Star Wars is a big thing. If they brought George Lucas on and they were like, hey, we're gonna make you do the next Star Wars. If it was 2024, people would be like, this guy's done this one whack student film and a movie about cars. This guy's doing Star Wars. What? Like, that's where I'm not like trying to say that this woman's going to be the next George Lucas. I'm just saying that some people are not just limited to they trust her for a reason. At least I hope, we don't know what's going on, but yeah. So, and also you said this, so I don't mean to keep having this dialogue with you, but you said, I personally don't fabricate optimism after many years of mediocrity. I'm sorry you feel that way, because that's simply not true, because we've had the revival of Clone Wars. All right. We've had Star Wars Rebels. We've had Mandalorian season 1 and 2, Tales of the Jedi. The list goes on of great content that we have had. Rogue One. If you're an Andor fan, hey, good for you. If you're not, I know Tony doesn't, but still, like, Star Wars is not dead. Star Wars will hopefully never die. Like, Tony, there he is. He's converted.
Somebody take a picture. He's got it. He likes it.
It's just, yes, American graffiti is what you said. But yeah, that's where that's where I'm like, the Star Wars, I mean, it's been a mixed bag. And honestly, it always has been a mixed bag. Like, Star Wars is a troubled franchise. Its imperfections kind of make it lovable. I mean, you think of the original trilogy, they did not have a plan. Like, Luke and Leia kissed in that movie, and then he was like, now they're siblings, like. So
Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars film, and there are tons of stuff where I'm like,
There's a little bit of this, yeah. And you look on it now with kind of rose-tinted glasses, but like, yeah.
Yo, John, thank you.
My trick's gonna work on me. Only money.
So,
Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Tony, that we've just been on our soapboxes here. But...
I mean, I want to say, not that I don't care. Like, you guys are right in everything you're saying. Like, I'm not gonna talk my shit until the movie comes out, because, like, what if you assume wrong, and what if it's a banger? Like, the leak that I heard, and it's probably fake, but if it's true, they were saying that the main villain might be half Sith, half Night Sister, like, combined, like some crazy shit. And I've never thought or heard that till now. So what if the villain is badass, half Sith with Dathomir night magic? We've never seen nothing like that.
I love the idea of weird dark side Force user, because, like, I think of, like, Legends. I think of one of my favorite games is Jedi Academy, and the main villain of that is the apprentice of this dinosaur guy who's a dark Jedi, and then she's going after the scepter of Mark Aragnos, but she's not even really a Sith. Like, weird stuff like that. Like, I mean, again, we're reading Plagueis, and they're investigating all of these different dark side oddities. Like, that sounds rad, because it's not the return of the Sith, but, like, having Rey have an opponent like that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so, like, I'm like, just whatever. People are gonna be mad regardless, so it's like, okay, whatever. But, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, the stuff she said, like, it's out of context. And then the last comment she said about women shaping Star Wars, I mean, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have said that. You're representing.
It was generalized.
But, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'm still gonna live my life, go watch Revenge of the Sith, go get pizza, go to work. Like, it doesn't affect me. I don't care. But I will say, when that movie does drop, you better believe when I get out, I'll be dropping out of the movie reaction raw video, because I've never been able to do one of those. I didn't have a channel back then. So the minute that movie drops, I'll be at the movies Thursday, the very first show, if it's 5 or 6 p.m. And as soon as I get out, that video will drop how I felt. And I won't hold back. I mean, I'm sure there'll be things, even if it is bad, I'm sure there'll be things that I like, because in the sequels, I didn't enjoy like all of it, but there are elements in each episode that I really, really like. So I'm just chilling, bro, and waiting. Me and Yoda, we just chilling, bro. We're waiting.
Yep.
Man or woman,
that's all we
whatever.
can do.
Yeah.
It's just that all we can do is, I know people, it's hard to be optimistic. Some people feel strongly about other things rather than some stuff. But like, I love Star Wars, and I get the feeling that if you're in this chat and, Will and Tony, like, nothing is going to change the Star Wars that we at least love. And I'm always going to welcome the possibility of more Star Wars that I love. So a lot of it. We got to get through this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, maybe Ahsoka season 2. We got a whole year ahead of us of TV shows that we're going to go through. So we still got a lot to look forward to.
Tony, I'm going to pull up a comment, the one right above that. This one.
What up?
It's not what she said. It's that they're handing her the franchise and she's not a fan.
I don't know about franchise. It's one movie.
She's not being handed the franchise. She's doing one movie. If anything, they handed Dave Filoni the franchise. And the last part, and she's not a fan. Not to say, as a Star Wars fan, would I prefer somebody who's doing Star Wars be a fan of Star Wars? Yeah. There's that thing of hopefully they have a love for the thing that they're making, right?
Yeah.
Two things about that. One, how do you know she's not a fan?
Yeah, Zenchi.
Yeah, because when did she say that? That's never been something that I've seen. Maybe if you have a clip of her saying that, send it to me because I'll clip it and post it. But number two, you know who is a really big fan of Star Wars? What's her name? Who's doing The Acolyte? And people are pissed that she's doing The Acolyte. Leslie Headland. She's a huge fan of Star Wars. She said some stuff that I don't necessarily agree with, that was also taken out of context, that I probably was that was all probably my fault that I clipped and sent out.
It's okay.
But she said it, right? She did say it. Did I know that it was going to start that firestorm? No! But she said it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. She's a huge fan. So Zenchi, do you want them to be a fan or not? Because I don't know if you're excited for Acolyte. Maybe you are, not to single you out here, but there's a lot of people who are mad at her for what she's making, and she is also a fan. So it's that thing of every box that you need checked is not going to be checked. And when I say you, I'm not talking about you, Zenchi. I'm talking about everybody. But it's that thing of if she's a fan, well, she should be a better fan. If she's not a fan, man, she should be a fan. It doesn't make any sense. Like
Eben said it perfect right there. You can't please everyone.
Here, I've got a quote from Darth Plagueis by James Luceno that I'm reading right now. Go check out Tales from the Archives. This is the quote. We are criticized as much for what we do as what we don't do. There you go.
There you go.
Boom!
Boom.
There you go.
Roasted.
Wow.
Grayson, don't you have D&D?
I do. That can be a little bit late. But yeah, it's good. I think we should. I got to go at least. If you guys can keep going, of course.
No, we'll probably wrap up because I'm hungry. All this, yeah.
Pizza and Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, bro, probably. You see the hat? I'm ready. I'm prepared.
As you should be.
Them too.
Drop the mic. Let's go. But yeah, I think that'll wrap up this episode, guys. So shout out to everybody in the chat. It was a blast. Grayson, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for allowing me to rant, and I'm sorry that I got up on this soapbox, but I appreciate you. And thank you so much for getting us to 100 subs. I mean, we literally wouldn't be here without you. So.
Oh wait, thank you. Let me actually bring that up because
let's do one last check.
We can't end the stream. So, all right, guys, 107. So if you guys are here at the end of the stream and haven't subscribed to Mortis FM, I'm dropping it in the chat for the 10th time. Go subscribe, show them some love. They drop great content. Cole and Grayson over there at Mortis FM.
And I'm sorry if I made you guys mad. It's just my opinion, and I love you all. And if you love Star Wars, you're cool.
Let's go. 108.
Thank you, one person. Man.
109. Let's go. Keep it, guys. Let's go.
We're gonna get a 110.
110. Let's go. Let's go, guys. All right, let's do 120. Come on, guys. 120.
No,
Show him some love. Show him some love.
Also, I do want to say, look, just talking about me, I did rant and go on my soapbox a little bit and talk a lot about what I think my opinions are.
Oh,
those are just my opinions. Okay? Those don't have to be your opinions. And if you disagree with me, I appreciate you and your fandom. It is good to have different opinions. If we all had the same opinion, everything would be super boring and we probably would not get great Star Wars. I appreciate you if you have a differing opinion from me. I accept you, and I really hope you stick around.
Let's go.
Because you know what? Maybe we'll have the same opinion one time. And if you don't, maybe you'll change my mind on something, and I'll learn something, because that's really all it is. It's one day at a time, and my focus is to have fun, which hopefully ends up being my reality.
114, guys.
Oh my
6
gosh,
more.
Guys. Oh my
6 more. Let's go.
No, I don't know. I don't think we can do it, man.
I don't know. There's still 37 people lurking. So
37 people. I might have been most of them, honestly. I was sitting at 89. So
that's crazy.
Man.
All right, guys. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
And the force be with you.
Toodaloo. Farewell.